Hello and welcome. You are listening to the Happier Life podcast. I'm your host, Clare Deacon. After deciding survival wasn't enough, I set out on a path to live my best life. I wanted to thrive. Now I'm on a mission to support others. Think you're not good enough, confident enough, brave enough? I'm here to tell you you are, and you can achieve anything. This is your time, so let's do this. Hello and welcome back to the Happier Life podcast. I'm Clare Deacon, your trauma-informed therapist, positive psychology coach and founder of Happya. And today we're going to be diving into a topic that so many of us carry silently in our bodies until something forces us to stop. We're talking about burnout, but not the dramatic crash and burn type. We're going to be talking about the quiet, the creeping, the invisible kind, the kind that builds over time, that you manage until you don't. The kind you don't even realize you're in until one day something small tips you over and you think, how did I get there? Maybe this sounds familiar and you've been running on a caffeine autopilot and calendar alerts. Perhaps your days are full with your to-do lists that just never end. And you keep on going because there are people depending on you and you wouldn't know what to do in stopping. So you show up for your clients, you show up for family and for friends. And even when you feel like you've got nothing left inside, you're functional but flat. Somehow you're smiling on the outside but hollow on the inside. You're numbing, you're scrolling, you're zoning out, you're snapping more than usual, or crying over something that wouldn't normally bother you. You tell yourself you're just tired, that you just need a break. But even when you do stop, nothing really changes. You don't feel rested. You don't feel better. You just feel more behind because you've sat still for 5 minutes. Let's be honest. Burnout is not always dramatic. Sometimes it looks like showing up to work every day and delivering even when your insides feel like static. It looks like cooking dinner and helping with homework whilst also fantasizing about running away. It looks like people telling you how strong and capable you are when you're really wondering how much longer you can keep pretending. And if that's where you are right now, I want you to hear me clearly. You're not weak. You're not broken. You are not lazy. You are burnt out. And your body and your nervous system, your entire being is trying to protect you the best way it knows how. So today I want to help you name what's happening beneath the surface, why burnout happens, especially for high functioning women, what your nervous system is actually doing, and how you can begin gently shifting those patterns that led you to this place. I'm also going to share a story from my own life that changed the way I understood burnout forever. And at the end, I'll offer an invitation, if this episode feels close to home, to reach out to me, send me a message, and I'll point you to the right support. You do not have to figure this out on your own. So let's start with what burnout really is because so many people misunderstand it. Burnout isn't just about having too much to do, it's about having too little space to be. It's emotional, physical, and nervous system depletion. Comes from chronic stress, from constant giving, from carrying invisible loads and doing it all with a smile. Burnout often shows up subtly at first. The early signs are things like emotional numbness. Things you used to enjoy just don't light you up anymore. Your fuse feels shorter. You're more irritable. You might feel detached or become more cynical. You struggle to focus. Your memory feels foggy. Your body feels heavy. Your sleep will be disrupted. You're either wired and tired or just can't find your energy. And no matter how much rest you get, it doesn't touch the exhaustion you're carrying. One of my clients, a senior executive and a mother of two, came to me saying, "I'm not sure what's wrong with me. I live a good life. I should be grateful, but I just feel empty." And that's it. That's the invisibility of burnout. From the outside, everything looks fine. Inside, you feel like you're fading. And if you've been in survival mode for years, maybe even decades, your system might not recognize anything is wrong because you've adapted. You've become brilliant at coping. You've built an identity around holding it all together, being the one who's fine, being the safe pair of hands. But coping is not the same as thriving. So let's talk about what's happening physiologically. Burnout is what happens when your nervous system is in a prolonged state of sympathetic arousal. It's what we call that fight or flight position. Your entire body is flooded with cortisol and adrenaline. It's constantly scanning for danger and pushing through because it just doesn't feel safe to stop. So, your prefrontal cortex, part of your brain that's responsible for the executive functioning, for rational thought and emotional regulation, begins to shut down. You might struggle to make decisions. Perhaps you begin to overthink the small things or feel stuck in a loop of anxiety and guilt. Over time, your system can flip into the opposite state, what we call the dorsal vagal shutdown. It's part of the parasympathetic nervous system, but not the calm, restorative part. This is the freeze state where everything slows down. You might feel numb, disconnected, shut down, or just spaced out. Even speaking can feel like it's too much. This is your body conserving energy because it's overloaded. This is why you can't just rest. Your system doesn't feel safe in stillness. It associates slowing down with danger. And That's where the shame spiral starts. You finally stop, and instead of feeling better, you begin to feel guilty or anxious. So you get up and you push through again because that's what you've always done. Um, I want to share something personal because this isn't just theory. I've lived this a few years ago. So after the loss of my husband, I thought I'd processed my grief. I thought I'd done the therapy that I could move it forward. I'd held it together for my children. I was running a business, writing a book, and being the strong one for everyone. But I didn't realize that strength had turned into suppression. And one day I found myself standing in the middle of my kitchen, unable to move. I couldn't remember what I was doing. I couldn't find the words. I just stood there and froze. I felt like I was a stranger in my own life again. And all I could think was, this just isn't me. But it was me. It was the me who'd pushed too hard for too long, and I'd finally hit that wall. That moment forced me to pause, to reevaluate everything. I thought rest was weakness, but I'd learned that true strength is knowing your limits. It's about listening to your body and allowing yourself to be human. So, how do we start to come back from burnout when everything just feels too much? First, we begin with awareness, noticing those patterns without judgment. Where are you overriding your needs? Where are you numbing? What parts of your life feel heavy? What's draining your energy and what's giving you life? Second, nervous system regulation. Now, this is not bubble baths and green juice. This is about helping your body feel safe again through grounding breath work, micro moments of safety throughout the day. It can be a hand on your heart, a slow exhale. It can be walking outside and pressing your feet to the floor. These are all small actions, but they're all actions that tell your system that you're safe now. Thirdly, boundaries, a huge topic, something that comes up again and again. And I don't mean saying no to others, I mean saying yes to yourself, to your needs, to your rest and your joy. What would it look like to protect your peace like it truly mattered? What would it look like to disappoint someone else before you betray yourself? So, fourth, connection. Burnout thrives in isolation. When we feel like we have to carry it all alone. So, reach out, talk to someone who gets it, find safe spaces where you don't have to explain or justify, where you can just be. And if that space doesn't exist for you yet, please know this one does, and I'm here. So, fifth, rebuild from the inside out and don't rush to fill every void. Let your energy return slowly. Let your nervous system relearn what safety feels like. hasn't been used to it for a while. It doesn't know that that is safe. So it takes some time, patience, and reassurance. It's compassion to yourself. Ask yourself not just what you want less of, but also what you truly want more of. Maybe it's more stillness, more laughter, more time alone, more connection, more ease, more simplicity. What would it feel like to live a life that doesn't just look good, but feels like yours from the inside out? So, lastly, and importantly, compassion, because this isn't about fixing yourself. This is about coming home to yourself. Burnout isn't a flaw in you. It's a feature of a culture that asks too much and supports too little. It's a collective wound, and your exhaustion is a completely valid response to trying to hold it all together for too long. And I want you to pause here and say something really important, because this might be the part of the episode that changes everything for someone who's listening. Maybe you're recognizing yourself in all of this. Maybe there's a part of you that knows this is resonating, but you still haven't reached out for support yet. And I get it. Truly, I do, because I've been that woman, the one who thought she could just keep going, the one who told herself she didn't need help, the one who looked like she was coping but was quietly unraveling on the inside. One of my deepest regrets will always be that I never sought therapy before my husband died. I didn't give myself permission. I told myself it wasn't that bad, that I should be able to manage on my own. And looking back now, I can see how stuck in survival I was, how desperate I felt, and how much shame I carried for needing support or feeling like I was failing. And that's why I do this work. That's why I show up here week after week, because I don't want you to wait like I did. I don't want you to believe the lie that your pain isn't big enough or your struggle isn't valid enough to deserve care. So, if this episode feels close to home, if you've been listening and thinking, this is me, then please let this be your permission slip to reach out. Send me a message on Instagram or through the website. Let me know what's resonating, and I'll point you to whatever support is right for you. Whether that's working with me one to one, accessing resources, or simply taking the next gentle step forward. Because the truth is, you don't need to hit rock bottom to start healing. You don't need anyone else to validate your pain before you take action. And you don't have to wait until everything falls apart to decide you're worth investing in. Every person I've worked with has told me in some way or another they wish they'd done this sooner. And my hope for you is that you'll be the one who listens to that quiet knowing now. You'll be the one who honors your own needs before the world demands a collapse. Who says yes to herself without apology. Sometimes the hardest part is reaching out, promise you it's worth it because you're worth it. Your life, your energy, your joy are all worth it. So, thank you for being here today, for showing up for yourself, for allowing this space to remind you that you're not alone. And I'll see you next week where we're going to be exploring how to calm your nervous system in just 5 minutes. So until then, take a breath, take up space, and remember you are not behind, you are not too much, you are right on time. If you've enjoyed this episode, ensure you hit subscribe, head on over to my website happyacoach.com, sign up for the weekly newsletter, and let me support you in living a happier life. I'm your host, Clare Deacon. Thank you for listening. Have a fabulous day.